Right then, Doctor Who series finale. Well, part one, because I was going to watch The Legend of Ruby Sunday and The Empire of Death consecutively and review them together, but then the internet decided to go out in the middle of Empire of Death, so we're just going to record Legend of Ruby Sunday today, and then hopefully I'll be able to watch The Empire of Death fully later. But yeah, I did rewatch The Legend of Ruby Sunday as preparation to watch Empire of Death today, but looks like that's not happening. So I took actual notes. So, my review might be a little bit more interesting than just, it was good. But yeah, on rewatch, I've thought about it, and this episode's actually good. When I watched it the first time, I was not at my most awake. I think I watched it in, the middle of the night. But after having rewatched it, I really think that this is quite a good episode for the most part. I do have some nitpicks, though. It would also be nice if my voice could work. Goodness. But yeah, I think first, pre-credit scene is really effective, and for the most part, the dialogue flows very well. I really like Kate in this episode. I feel like we get to see more of her, actual personality, and not just, her as, an issue. She's more often than not an issue in the episodes, and I just really feel like it's nice to see her be, actually competent at her job. And I also like that she's a bit exasperated with the Doctor in this episode. I also like that everyone already knows what's up with the anagram. It's yeah, Doc, we already know that. I like that moment. I like the Doctor getting put in this place, I think it's funny. And then we have the credits, obviously, and then, yeah, I think the exposition here about Susan Triad, is a bit clunky. It's just, the dialogue's a bit weird, but I understand that, exposition is hard, whatever, but, like I said, I have nitpicks. Most of my complaints are nitpicks. They're not, really big complaints. It's not really takes away from the episode or anything. It's just my suspension of disbelief was a little bit broken at the beginning of there. The dialogue's very strong, and I really feel like this episode doesn't really waste time anywhere, and it uses its time effectively, is what I'm saying. Yes, it's only 45 minutes, and I think that consistently through every episode up until this point, I've complained about the episode not being long enough, but it works. It works really well. It doesn't waste any time, but it uses enough time to linger on specific moments. It gets, the emotional punches that it needs to, Funny thing, the comment that Rose makes as she and Ruby go to get the tape is that she never gets any proper work, which I guess I haven't looked at what other people have been saying about this episode yet. Obviously, the reason why Rose isn't getting any proper work is because she's a minor, and she's probably technically not even supposed to be there. Unit's probably breaking the law a bit there. Now, I want you to keep in mind that I haven't finished Empire of Death yet, so I have no idea what's up with Mrs. Flood. But I noted when Mrs. Flood is going to watch Ruby Scran, when she and Carla go to the unit headquarters, she says something about her mum dying when she wasn't looking. And I'm thinking, could Mrs. Flood be a daughter of a Time Lord, or a Time Lord herself, and she didn't have a mum, she was her mum, and then she regenerated, and that's why she's saying that she died when she wasn't looking? I don't know. But she clearly knows something about what's going on, because she's weird about it. She's weird about it in the beginning of Empire of Death as well. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But maybe I'll know by the end of Empire of Death, or maybe it's a seed for next series. Who knows? I really like the scene that we get after when we go back to unit with Kate and the Doctor. I feel like that's really nicely done. I like that they kind of focus on this emotional connection that the Doctor has to Susan, and that they provide kind of an explanation for why he hasn't gone back to see her. This scene is just really well written, it's really well directed. I especially like the shot where we see the screen and then what's going on there, and then camera kind of switches to focus on the reflection of Kate and the Doctor in there. That's really cool. I also really like the scene with Kate, like the part of the scene with Kate when Ruby and Rose come back with the tape. I feel like Kate is very exasperated with the Doctor and Ruby's antics. Like, they just do all the things and she's just like, oh well. She's like very tired of them, but like in a fond way, you know. I just really like all of these interactions that we get to have with Kate, because like at this point she knows the Doctor. When we first met her, she doesn't know anything about the Doctor outside of stories that her father's told her, you know, like she doesn't have any reference point for him, but now that she knows him much better, she gets to like have an actual relationship with him, and I think that's really great. I also really love that the Doctor knows that they have a time window, even though the Doctor forbid them in the past to research time things. And yeah, right. Time window scene. I really like the way the Doctor reacts to the time window. Like, it's not as sophisticated as the time windows that he likely has experience with, you know? And it's just like, I just like that it grounds his character. I don't know how to say it, but I like that it adds to his personality in some kind of way that, you know, his history is not ignored, you know? Which I know is like basic stuff, but like, I like it still, you know? And then the thing that I really like with this time window thing is the effort that they went through with the effect. Like, that the scenery that shows up in the time window is kind of glitchy and it's black and white because it's a VHS tape. I really like that. I know that that's more of a behind the scenes thing and not really like an episode thing, but I feel like it feels more real. And then, let's see, I feel like a lot of the, well, not a lot, but a good portion of the dialogue, especially after Ruby's mum kind of after the TARDIS leaves, I feel like a lot of the dialogue with kind of this Sutekh cloud is a bit awkward. I don't know. And I also feel like we don't really get to emotionally connect with this character that dies here. Like, I can't even remember his name. Like, I just did not connect with him at all. And I feel like that makes his death less impactful. And also another thing about this, the kind of discovery of his death after the window turns itself off, is like the music. I feel like comes in too early. I feel like we should have seen the body before the music comes in, you know. But yeah, other than that, I like, on its base, like if we're just looking at the script and not anything that was done after, I really like the way the scene flows. I really like that the Doctor apologizes and that we get a moment to like see Kate's reaction before she goes into command mode. I really like that, but I really wish that we did not have the music before we saw the Colonel's body. Yeah? I just feel like that would have been more effective. I'm going to have more complaints about music when we get to Empire of Death, but that's, again, I haven't watched the entire episode, so I'm gonna put it off for now. But yeah, we're gonna get to it. I also feel like it's very obvious that the character, the woman that we think is Ruby's mum at the very least, we think she's Ruby's mum, is pointing at the TARDIS. So, because she can clearly see Sutekh, or like sense that something's wrong with it, I think. That's my theory. Again, haven't finished Empire of Death, so don't come for me if I'm wrong. Yeah? And then we go to Susan Triad's little event thingy. I just love this scene with Mel and the Doctor before they go in, where he has like a little time to be angry and frustrated about this whole thing. And I just love that she just gets him back on track. I just really love Mel. I know that she, as far as I've heard, that she has more personality now than she had in Classic Who and in her original run, and that, you know, that might not be the same if I go back and watch those episodes. But I really, really love Mel in this episode, and also in the beginning of Empire of Death. But again, I have not finished Empire of Death, so I don't know what's going to happen to her. But I really love Mel in this episode. She just brings a kind of energy that the Doctor needs right now, because he's very clearly stressed, and she just gets him back on track and really just does things. And I love that she gets to have the spotlight, because we didn't get to see a lot of her in the specials and the 60th anniversary specials. So yeah, I love that she's just around and she does things. I think she might be my favorite character, new character in this episode, because I mean, she's basically new. Okay, so yeah, then we get on to the Doctor meeting our Susan Triad, which is obviously not the Susan, but I really love this scene. I really love how he picks up on the fact that she can remember the times where she's met him before through dreams, right? And I just really love the chaos of these scenes at the end here. They're really well woven together. I don't really have any criticisms. They're just good. And the dialogue is very strong in this episode. There is only a few moments where I feel like it's a bit awkward, and I think that they feel more awkward because the rest of the dialogue is so good. And then the other thing that I've noted here is, I don't know if it's really that important, is that Harriet, while she's saying all of these things, bringing Sutekh into the world or whatever, I don't really understand it, but that whole speech that she has at the end, you can see that she's crying. I don't know if that's gonna be a thing, if she's, still in there, if she and perhaps Susan Twist can be saved at the end. I have no idea how we're going to solve this entire issue anyways, so I'm not gonna think about it too much, but I think that perhaps she and Susan could make it out of this, regardless of what happens to everyone else. But we'll see. Overall, this was a much better episode than I remember it being from my first watch, and I'm glad that I watched it again, because when I watched it the first time, all I could remember was those slightly awkward moments of dialogue and how they didn't flow that well. But I'm very glad that I watched it again, and now it seems like the intent is back, so I'm gonna go and watch Empire of Death, and then I'm gonna come back and record a proper review for that as well. So, bye. Yeah.